All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How are you all doing? Good to see you on this Saturday. Thanks for hanging out with me on this Saturday. We're live on Callin, Rockfin, and on YouTube. And just wanted to thank Lou Johns for the donation on PayPal. Also, if you want to send me a comment to read on the air, please give me a super chat, Super Ray, which is a Rockfin tip, or hit me up on buymeacoffee.com, Cash App, Red Llama Music, Venmo at Kevin Sandbloom, paypal.me/Kevin Sandbloom. Hit me up at any of those places. All the links are in the description box. And I will read comments in the middle of the show and at the end of the show. Okie doke. All right. Let's get into it, because there's always too much to cover. I was gonna amend my intro from everything is connected to Black Bear News, where everything is connected, to something like where we all have more in common than differences, something like that, because that's also true. All right. Let's watch this. We're going to start out with something kind of funny, kind of hilarities. I am getting like super, not depressed, oppressed on YouTube. I don't know what's going on. YouTube doesn't want anybody to think that I'm here or something like that. I don't know. Maybe they're just hiding my videos. A lot of people say that they're having a hard time finding my videos, but that is to be expected. I'm kind of shadow banned on YouTube and also on Twitter, which is annoying and a little draining, because I spend a lot of energy on the show. I spend a lot of time getting the show together. I spend a lot of time on Twitter kind of, keeping things going. And it's frustrating and a little bit demoralizing, I guess, to spend the energy and then be shadow banned. There are more people on Rockfin. Go figure. That's crazy. That's all good, though. Watch me on Rockfin. I would say that is a wise choice if you're watching me on Rockfin. Because, who knows where YouTube's going to be in the future. I'll, try and remember that. I try to remember that. We all have more in common than we do differences. Even the people that you think you disagree with, or maybe you don't like, you probably have more in common with them than you don't. Like having the same, concerns about life and finances and children and parents and family and all that kind of stuff, right? All right. Anyways, let's watch this. This is very funny. I saw this woman's name, but it's probably down here. Katie Hopkins. This is her name. She's going to talk about renewables.
So for Just Stop Oil, I thought we'd have one of those things they call, I think, a teachable moment in the institutions where you've been being indoctrinated for the last about 20 years of your life while you've done your first degree, your second degree in genderqueer studies, your master's, just to really avoid the workplace and having to pay any bills ever. But I wanted to address this thing, and I don't mean the plug, I mean the concept of electricity. You guys seem to believe that electricity is green, electric bike, electric cars, they're great, they're green. Well, I hate to be the one that breaks this to you, especially as I'm a menopausal old hag and most of you probably hate my guts, but this stuff isn't an end in and of itself. It has to come from somewhere. Now, you guys like to think that electricity comes from, I don't know, the flapping of 2,000 whales' tails somewhere out in a green ocean. You like to think maybe that electricity comes from the beating of 4,000,000 butterfly wings in unison somewhere under a rainbow. You guys like to think maybe that electricity comes from penguins farting on some ice cap somewhere. It doesn't. It has to be made and created, and the main way of us doing that is through oil and gas and nuclear. And I know you're going to go, oh, but solar, oh, but wind. Well, wind only works when it's windy enough or in the right direction, and the solar didn't work this summer earlier when it was sunny because it was too sunny. And before you say, oh yes, but there's batteries, well, these things aren't secreted out from the pores of lovely animals who are leaping around the green planet. This stuff has cobalt in it, which has to be mined from some festering mind by some small black child who is paid nothing, treated horribly, and is being abused in order that you can feel better about your life. Okay, I hope that helped, and I hope that cleared up the principle of how energy and electricity works.
Yeah. I mean, we're preaching to the choir here. I think most people understand that. She's not giving us super new information, but she gave it in a way that was kind of funny. And I enjoyed that. Let's see. On that, in that vein, we'll look at this has been making the rounds. There's a wind turbine post. They're talking about neodymium, which is what makes up wind turbines. I don't know why this won't play. This has been stuck. I can't get this thing to play. Anyways. This was a lake. Now it's just kilometers of millions of tons of bubbling sludge. Maybe you guys want to see this. Made up of toxic chemicals and radioactive waste. This is where we mine neodymium, a main component, in wind turbines. It's fine. It's saving the planet. You can't really see this sludge being pumped out into this lake. I'm sorry. Somebody asks, this is funny. Underneath this post, do you think we shouldn't ever build anything, Bernie? Bernie's tweets. Good question. Should we never build anything? Man. I'm not even going to go into the answer, but that is a fine question to ask. He's asking it sarcastically, of course. What, we're supposed to not build things? I don't know. Maybe you should ask yourself why you believe that there's a knee-jerk need to build things. Why you maybe should ask yourself why that's just a given, that we just got to build the things. I don't know. All right, people coming in. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I know you all expect me to be late. Ha, ha, ha. I got you this time. I started on time. But everybody's kind of filing in now, so here we go. I'm sorry you couldn't really actually see that video, but it's been on a loop for all morning. This is an interesting post. This is a Canadian politician. Is that right? Danielle Smith? She says, I believe she's Canadian. says, according to Steve Austin, the quiet part out loud. And we get a glimpse of the coming bullshit storm. We don't intend to transition away from oil and natural gas. It's a transition away from emissions. This is your just transition. We're getting away from emissions. That's all, but not away from oil and gas. Man, that's saying so much, isn't it? And is it a wonder why people don't believe anything anybody has to say, right? Anybody in, I know I bang on the climate deniers quite a bit, but like, is it a wonder? Is it a wonder that people don't believe in anything because because they spread it thick, don't they? It is spread insanely thick. Let's listen to this because it's kind of wild. It's only 19 seconds.
We don't need a just transition in Alberta because we don't intend to transition away from oil and natural gas. As many of you in the industry have pointed out, the transition we're talking about is a transition away from emissions. It's not a transition away from production. We don't need a just transition in Alberta because we don't intend to transition away from oil and natural gas. As many of you in the industry...
I suppose she's also saying that a just transition would transition away from oil and gas. But she is saying the quiet part out loud. She is saying the obviousness of what Katie Hopkins said at the very beginning of the show. That everything, what you think is renewable, or all those little fun gadgets and whatnot, are all coming from oil. They're all coming from oil. And she's just admitting to it. That they're going to keep the oil and the gas thing going, but they're going to redirect, what you see or what you breathe in or what, is emitted. Maybe, right? If you can't see the emissions, then I guess you can't count them. Hey, North, I'm not going to take any calls right now. I'm going to take some at the end of the show. If you want to hang out and stick around, I'll take some calls at the end. I just want to kind of get through some stories here. Anyways, that's quite interesting, isn't it? And here's, here's what the powers that be, how they really feel about people protesting about fossil fuels. If you think that people protesting about fossil fuels are, somehow, I don't know, it's a little convoluted, and I understand it's hard to get it right, that the powers that be fully understand that they need the fossil fuels and they're not intending to discontinue them anytime. So, and they really don't like people calling out the fact that they're not going to discontinue them anytime, and this is how they treat protesters in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, at the world's largest gathering of central bankers. We came to ask the Fed to use its vast powers to end fossil fuel finance. In response, we were brutally tackled, assaulted, and kneeled on. That had to hurt. That couldn't have felt good at all. And that's how you're treated if you want to get out there and let the powers that be know that you don't want the fossil fuel financing, right? Moving on to the next story. Got a lot of stories from Poppy today. So thank you, Poppy, for sending many stories, good stories my way. Got one from Fantomas as well. Try and get to that one as So I just did a little kind of cliff notes of the article here on Twitter. Lebanon, the country, is looking to get their own energy independence on, right? Because that's what, you know, at the end of the day, if you got some oil in your neighboring oceans, if you got some oil sitting around under the ground and you're not out there trying to dig it up with the best of them, well, then you're just losing out on your energy independence and also financial windfall that could possibly be coming your way. So Lebanon is trying to enter the oil game. Lebanon's interest in offshore oil exploration took root in the early 2000s as the country embarked on the journey of uncovering its hydrocarbon potential. By the way, this was made possible by a deal brokered by the United States, where they clearly defined, I guess, the maritime border with Israel. So there's that. Nestled between oil-rich neighbors, the allure of delving into offshore oil and gas discoveries captivated Lebanon's aspirations, holding the prospect of attaining economic self-sufficiency and liberation from the shackles of external pressure. In the challenging journey of harnessing its oil and gas resources, Lebanon stands at a crossroads where the specter of the resource curse looms large. Drawing from poignant examples worldwide, such as Nigeria and Angola, countries that have grappled with mismanagement of their oil wealth, Lebanon must remain vigilant. Certainly what you don't want is to get your hands on some oil and then mismanage the funds. Or is that what always happens? Who knows? Something tells me that's what always happens. Despite Nigeria's considerable oil revenues, it wrestles with corruption, political instability, and poor governance. Isn't Nigeria trying to tell Niger how to run their business? That's funny. Right? Nigeria is like, no, you guys better play ball and do the right thing and all that kind of stuff. But we have absolutely no control over what we're doing ourselves. Despite Nigeria's considerable oil revenues, it wrestles with corruption, political instability, and poor governance. Similarly, Angola, rich in oil, has been beset by issues like misconduct and opacity. Woo, opacity. You better get you some opacity. I can't see nothing. With a significant portion of its population mired in poverty, despite abundant oil earnings. Well, where have we heard this before? Isn't that what we heard about Niger? But not about oil, about uranium, right? They mine all this uranium and they send it to France and other places. France gets a good portion of the uranium from Niger, and most of Niger's population lives in poverty. Does that sound like some mismanagement or some appropriation of funds? Misappropriation of funds? I think so. And I think that was behind the coup, right? Certainly one of the reasons, or maybe the main reason. Who knows? Anyways, thanks, Poppy, for that story. And we will get to another story about Niger that Poppy sent me. Poppy was on the case today. So I appreciate you sending me so many interesting stories. I think this one was... Poppy sent me this one too. Japan. When we talked about this yesterday, Japan began releasing wastewater from the crippled Fukushima nuclear plant into the Pacific Ocean. I'm going to get my mouth to work correctly. On Thursday, despite angry opposition from China and local fishermen. Japanese officials have repeatedly insisted that the wastewater release is safe. Nothing to see here. Everything is perfectly fine. But China's environment ministry on Thursday blasted Japan as extremely selfish and irresponsible, saying it would track and study the impact of the release on its waters. At least somebody is doing that. Bully for you, China. Ahead of the operation, about 10 people held a protest near the site, and around 100 others gathered outside TEPCO headquarters in Tokyo, AFP journalists said. Here's a quote from Kenichi Sato, 68. It's like dumping an atomic bomb in the ocean. Japan is the first country that was attacked with an atomic bomb in the world, and the prime minister of the country made this decision. Bringing it full circle. Anyways. Is this another one? One more that Poppy sent me. We'll talk about this briefly. Carbon, this is also revealing about this just transition or this new carbon market, or, you know, we're doing the right thing for climate change, and it's going to bring a lot of jobs and, you know, a lot of speculation, a lot of wealth. this whole climate change industry thing that they're trying to work up. Carbon credit speculators could lose billions. What? As scientific evidence shows, many offsets they have bought have no environmental worth and have become stranded assets. Yikes. Amid growing evidence that huge numbers of carbon credits do nothing to mitigate global heating and can sometimes be linked to alleged human rights concerns, there is a growing pile of carbon credits equivalent to the annual emissions of Japan, the world's fifth largest polluter, that are unused in the unregulated voluntary market, according to market analysis. From Apple to Disney, Gucci to Shell, many of the largest companies in the world have used carbon credits for their sustainability efforts from the unregulated voluntary market, which grew to $2 billion in size in 2021 and saw prices for many carbon credits rise above $20 per offset. The credits are often generated on the basis that they are contributing to climate change mitigation, such as stopping tropical deforestation, tree planting, and creating renewable energy projects in developing countries. Proponents say they need to massively increase in size and scale to help meet the Paris Agreement to limit global heating. But repeated scandals about their true impact and a crackdown from regulators on claims of carbon neutrality have meant that demand and prices for offsetting have slumped, with signs that some carbon credit traders are writing off investments that could have been worth hundreds of millions of dollars as recently as last year. In the U.S., the derivatives market regulator has issued a whistleblower alert relating to fraud and misconduct in carbon markets and has created a new environmental fraud task force. Jeez. Who was it that was like, man, we need some carbon credits soon to help save the planet? Who was it? I mean, there's been many who said that, but I don't understand it myself. I have always been confused by the whole carbon credit thing. And even if you just want to talk about just straight up taxing fossil fuels, which is, I guess, another way to do it. A carbon tax. I've heard other people talk about a carbon tax. I don't get it. I mean, I guess you could make it just so expensive that nobody wants to use it. But for one thing, the entire world runs on fossil fuels. So I'm guessing that people will really, really have to, or try, or be forced to pay whatever it is the price is. Regardless. If you woke up tomorrow morning and gas was $10 a gallon, guess what you're going to do? You're going to put $10 a gallon gas in your car. That's what you're going to do. Again, I'm sure people would drive a whole lot less, which would be fine, but who's going to be able to afford that $10 a gallon gas? Well, I'm sure the wealthy wouldn't have a problem paying those prices. But if you're poor, struggling, mother trying to get to work in the morning, that makes it a lot harder, doesn't it? All right, let's move on. I love this. I've seen this before, and I think many of you have seen this little vignette of releasing wolves into Yellowstone and how they changed the environment in Yellowstone. But the funny thing is about this vignette, is that they seem to exclude why the wolves were gone in the first place. And the reason why I'm playing this is to indicate to the people that may not believe that humans are, don't have any effect on the planet because the planet's so big. Just to demonstrate how wolves can affect the ecology and the environment so drastically. And here's the thing. If you actually want to follow the trail, if you want to use the logical line of thinking, well, why were the wolves, if the wolves being gone affected the environment so drastically, well, who was it that removed the wolves in the first place? Oh, yeah, it was humans. So when you say, oh, humans, we're not, the earth is so big, there's so much space. If you think that humans can't affect the planet, just look at what happened when they removed the wolves from Yellowstone Park, and how drastically the environment was changed. And then when we put them back, we were like, whoa, it's amazing. Look at this nature. Whoa. Brilliant. Anyways, this is kind of a cool video here, though. Let's see. The thing is, I don't know if it has narration, so it doesn't. So the people that are listening on call-in are not going to be able to. I guess I'll quickly narrate while I'm playing this. So the wolves, no one expected the miracle the wolves would bring. Started with wolves hunting deer. This led to the wolves present also decreased the deer population. Thanks to the decreased deer population, other animals appeared. The forests of aspen and willow trees started to flourish. That's when things really started to happen. With the trees and bushes came more berries and bugs. As soon as that happened, the various bird species started moving in. With the increasing tree population, another species was attracted. The beaver, previously extinct in the region, moved back. And the dams they built provided habitats for otters, muskrats, and reptiles. Man, the wolves also killed coyotes. As a result of that, the number of rabbits and mice grew, which meant more hawks, red foxes, badgers, and weasels in the park. Even the population of bald eagles and ravens rose. But here's where it gets really interesting. The wolves changed the behavior of the rivers, and with more balance between predator and prey. Wow. Came the possibility for other species to thrive. There was less erosion because of increased vegetation, and the riverbanks were stabilized. All right. The channels narrowed. So more pools formed, etc. So they, The rivers stayed more fixed in their course. So the wolves did not only transform the great ecosystem of Yellowstone, they also changed the park's physical geography. I love that. I love that. I've seen that before. Maybe something humans might want to think about when they're thinking about how they're impacting or affecting the planet, or thinking about, well, you want to save the planet. People that want to save the planet are anti-human. Consider that statement. I've actually heard people say that. It's wild. People that want to save the planet are anti-human. Okay. So if the planet isn't doing a very good job of keeping things alive anymore, what do you think happens to humans? I'm just asking, just a question. Anyways. Another day of brutal heat in the south. Central Plains in the U.S. I know you guys out there are feeling it. Good news for the Midwest and Central Plains. A relief is expected from tomorrow. Bad news for Texas and Louisiana. The heat is going to get even worse with more 110s and unbearable conditions. Jang. Sorry, I couldn't see that. Look at this. We've seen this is happening in the Alps, Alpine glaciers. In Switzerland are barren rock, mostly barren rock. 3 of the most important alpine glaciers. Titlis, Zugspitze, and Sonnenblick are devoid of any snow, with the glaciers exposed to melting during this warm spell. During the next few days, fresh snow will cover them, but the long-term trend is poor. These are the Alps. These are Alps in Austria, Switzerland, and Germany, and they're looking, again, devoid of ice and snow. And Germany also experiencing their bit of, they've been experiencing a whole lot of extreme weather. They're getting some more today or yesterday. Yikes. Tree falling on cars? Dang. Get out of the car. Yikes. That car looks smashed. Smashed by tree. Fierce heat also in North Africa and the Middle East. Rare, if not unheard of, for late August. Yesterday, in Basra, in Iraq, 52 C, 48.1 C at Agadir in Morocco. Today, 50.3 C in the United Arab Emirates. Both areas have been having an extremely hot August so far. And Phantoma sent me this. This is I feel like we talked about this at one time, or I covered some other story that was similar. Oh no, that's not it. Hold on. That is not it. About SpaceX being a blatant disruptor of the planet and destroyer of the planet. Explosion of the SpaceX rocket left 385-acre debris field. 385-acre debris field that flung concrete chunks as far as 2,680 feet from the launch pad and sparked a 3.5-acre state park fire. United States wildlife officials were reportedly taken aback by the environmental damage they witnessed when they visited the site in Texas where one of billionaire Elon Musk's space rockets exploded earlier this year. The Space Exploration Technologies Corporation, SpaceX, rocket exploded after lifting off from the company's facility in Boca Chica, Texas. Boca Chica, sis, boom, ba, Bugs Bunny, rah, rah, rah. In April, burning almost 4 acres of a state park and dropping huge chunks of concrete that created craters a foot deep, Bloomberg reported. Wildlife officials questioned at the time if they were being blocked from the explosion site after they were unable to view the area for 48 hours had passed. That's weird. According to communication records obtained by Bloomberg, officials also questioned why SpaceX had not used gold standard flame suppression technology, as not doing so apparently was a costly error, Bloomberg reported. The resulting explosion left a 385-acre debris field that flung concrete chunks far and wide. And so, yay, space travel, rockets. Are you saying we're not supposed to build stuff? I don't know. Maybe we should build things that help people. Just a thought. It doesn't take much, right? To build homes for the homeless. How about gardens for the hungry? How about that? How much did it cost to build that rocket that exploded right after liftoff? How much did all that cost? Everybody in the city of Los Angeles, where SpaceX is one of their main offices is. I'm getting a lot of. Sorry, guys. No. Okay, it's gone now. Hopefully, you guys are okay. It's starting to get annoying. All the homeless people in Los Angeles and elsewhere could have been housed. Probably all the homeless people in all the major cities in the United States could have been housed with the money that it took to build that rocket and explode it. I'm sure. All right. We have reached the halfway point of the show. I'm going to check on the Super Rays and Super Chats and see if any of y'all sent any good comments in. Not yet. Checking in on coffees, buymeacoffee.com. Nope, nothing yet. I'll check in again at the end of the show, or maybe I should check my other comment locations, PayPal, Venmo. Cash App. Also good. All right. Good. I will come back into the show and check those again. We're going to move on to some other things. Let's see. This is another story that Poppy sent my way. Poppy was busy. But she sent me some good stories, so thank you, Poppy. A line of thousands of trucks stretches back 25 kilometers from the muddy shores of the Niger River that marks the frontier. Drivers stranded for weeks hang their clothes between trucks. The headline is "Food and Aid Pile Up at Niger's Border as Sanctions Bite." Why are they're sanctioning the new government of Niger, the coup government, right? Away from border guards, small traders pile goods onto wooden boats to cross the rain-lashed river. The backlog is one of the clearest signs yet of the impact of sanctions imposed by regional bloc ECOWAS, right? We talked about ECOWAS, led by Nigeria, bastion of moral fiber. I don't know. Have you had your moral fiber today? I like to eat me a big bowl of moral fiber in the morning. Anyways, I'll stop that. Anyways, this was imposed by regional bloc ECOWAS on Niger after a military coup on July 26th. The blockade is meant to pressure the junta to restore President Mohamed Bazoum to office. Bazoum. In the process, it has driven up the price of food inside Niger during the lean season, hampered industry, and threatened a shortage of medical supplies, aid agencies, officials, and residents said. All right. Nothing like getting some democracy going when you starve the people out. Nothing like starving some people to get you some democracy going, right? That's how it's done, son. We don't know if we've been taken hostage or what, said Nigerian trucker Suleiman, who has been stuck at the border with his cargo of sugar and oil for over 20 days. There's no food, there's no water, there's nowhere to sleep. There is little sign yet that the sanctions have dented the popularity of the junta. Thousands of people took to the streets in support of the coup last Sunday, some of whom held anti-ECOWAS signs. It sounds like the coup is quite popular, right? The junta is popular with the people. That's what it sounds like. And maybe they're thinking that if they make everybody hungry and poor, that everybody will get mad at the junta, right? Man, these guys have really messed things up for us. We need to get the Bazoum back. Get Bazoum back in here. Bazoum. All I want to do is zoom. Sorry. In Bazoom. All right. I had to finish it. Finish him. I feel a little funny. Okay, let's go move over to Sabby Sabs talking to Dr. Cornel West. And we're gonna I'm kind of gonna outline, this is not, me loving the Republicans, because I don't really love the Republicans, not at all. I'm just pointing out for the Democrat people and the liberal people that there's a shift in support. A lot of it has to do with how black people view the Democrats. And if you can, historically, at least, in recent history, the black population has been a large, a very important contingent of the Democratic base, right? And that's kind of changing, and it's changing very quickly too, as evidenced by a few clips I'm gonna show you. Yes, Gene. Yes, Gene. So, yeah, and it seems like what the Democrats are trying to do is not working very well, and it's kind of blowing up in their faces, and they're not looking so good. And I'm not saying this like, oh, I hate the Democrats and I love Republicans. That's not where I'm coming from. I'm actually, I'm politically, I'm outside of either party. Definitely outside of either party, way left of the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, because both of them are right-wing parties. I'm a lefty, right? I believe in lefty things. So when I attack the Democrats, I'm not attacking them from the right. I'm attacking them from the left. So I just want to clarify that for people who seem to think that me criticizing them in the ways that they're handling many things, one of those things being, trying to prosecute Trump for stuff, it doesn't mean that I'm on the side of the Trump side or the right side or the right-wing side or the conservative. Not at all. I'm just pointing out the totality of the picture, hopefully. Hope you all understand that. I think most of you do. But let's look at this from Sabby Sabs. Here's why the DNC is mad at you. 10% of black voters will support other if Biden and Trump are nominees. Right. If Biden and Trump are nominees, we have a lot of people in the black demographic column saying, we don't want anything to do with either of you. And I'm pointing this out for the people, for the well-meaning, Democrat or liberal that, it's like, golly gee willikers, we just need to keep the Democrats in there to keep the bad people away. Yeah. I think it's time for a change. I think it's time for a radical change, and we've been hearing it since 2016. Like, oh no, we can't have too radical a change, because that'll be bad. Well, what we got was bad. You didn't want the radical change, and what you got was things getting worse. And now things are even worse with Biden. And now you have the prospect of Trump coming back, and things getting even worse. Like, do you understand? Do you understand? It's going to get worse unless you accept the fact that we're going to need some radical change, something outside the box, something a little uncomfortable, something a little anti-status quo. Sorry to tell you that. I'm sorry to break that to you. That's the reality. And so, just try to get outside of the Fox News, CNN, NPR news bubble that you live in. That is not reality. That's described reality. That's prescribed reality. That's somebody telling you what reality is. That doesn't have anything to do with how people are really feeling. And anyways, it has more to do with, painting pictures of what could be. Anyways, let's watch this. It's very interesting.
So speaking of threat, I don't know if you've seen this. I'm going to show you two polls tonight. This first one that I want to show you, this is the Economist/YouGov poll. So this was August 12th through August 15th. And I want to show you this because this is very telling. This is obviously after you announced this number was not the same before. If an election for president was going to be held now and the Democratic nominee was Joe Biden and the Republican nominee was Donald Trump, who would you vote for? I want you to show you other. This is very telling. When we look at other, if we go all the way over to African Americans, 10% of African Americans said they would choose other, not Joe Biden or Donald Trump. And I wanted to show you this, Dr. West, because this is the poll that Simone Sanders and Caitlin from CNN and Anderson Cooper and all those guys, they are not showing people this poll, but I can guarantee you the DNC has probably seen this, and that is what they are afraid of. That is why they consider you to be a threat. If they show this poll to their viewers, people say, oh my God, 10% of African Americans. And just to show people something else, if we were to look at Donald Trump, 17% of African Americans said they would vote for Trump. If you add the two together, that's 27%. Then we have 13% of African Americans that said they would not vote. But what I think the Democratic Party is more afraid of, and why they keep telling people you're a spoiler or you're going to give us Donald Trump, is because you're in double digits here. African Americans will not vote for Joe Biden or Donald Trump. They will vote for other. And that is why I believe they're coming after you. I think it's important for people to see those numbers.
That's a powerful point. I know you made that last night. Me and Anahita were checking you out last night. That was the first time I ever seen that. I don't know anybody else who actually has access to that. I don't know how you got access to that. But that's the kind of investigation that you do of a high level. But no, if it's 10% now, shoot, by Christmas it might be 15, maybe 20. Why? Because people are making choices. Biden and the Democratic Party don't own black people's vote. They don't own anybody's vote. You earn it. You earn it.
Right.
Present your case. Lay out your vision. See what people, how they respond. Now, as you know, over 40% of our fellow citizens don't vote at all.
Yeah.
See, I'm going to them. 1 out of 8 of those who supported Trump supported Brother Bernie. I'm going to Trump country, as I've said from the very beginning. Trump followers are not gangsters like him. Not all of them. They're not all neo-fascists like him. They cannot stand the arrogance and the haughtiness of the Democratic Party. They can't stand the hypocrisy of it, and they can't stand the indifference of the professional managerial class to the plight of those who never went to college. What's the percent of the folk in our country that never went to college? 60-some percent.
Yeah.
And their lives are just as precious as lives at Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Berkeley, University, Chicago.
Yes. And on top of those kinds of numbers, I don't know if you guys have been seeing this on Twitter. Mostly on Twitter, I'm saying a lot. I'm seeing like a deluge of videos from rappers and basically Black America saying like we don't like what is going on with Trump and we're going to vote for Trump just to give a big FU to the Democrats. I'm not saying like, oh, me seeing that is somehow a verification of how all Black people, let's not jump to all that. Let's not do all that. Okay. You don't have to extrapolate things to the extreme. What I'm getting at though, is that there is a sentiment, a growing sentiment among, it seems like Black people that they don't like the Democrats anymore. They're sick of the Democrats, and they're actually riding with Trump because they see him as somebody who's being so, as other people have pointed out very lucidly, other reporters, other journalists have pointed out, the persecution of Trump is actually making him more sympathetic, a more sympathetic character, and which is what you don't want. If you don't like Trump, you don't want to make him more sympathetic to people. You don't want to make him sympathetic to people that might have made up to the Democratic base. So you got to, again, turn the viewfinder back on yourself. Instead of, what I probably, I'm sure I'm missing is a lot of people saying, well, these people are just, they're confused and they're, these aren't, like what some people might say, they're not real Black people, or this is not how Black people feel. Well, I didn't know that all Black people were supposed to feel the same way, for one thing. But I didn't know that all white people were supposed to feel the same way. I'm not even going to go down that road. But anyways, what I'm saying is, this is dangerous ground to walk on. This is dangerous ground to tread. And I have seen numerous videos of people saying, Black people, specifically Black people, saying, we are done with this, ridiculousness, and we're just voting for Trump just because, we want to shake things up, and we're sick of this Democrat Party, and we're sick of this, idea that we're supposed to always support them. So I don't know. I'm just presenting this as evidence that something has shifted. I'm seeing, so Trump was driving, the Trump motorcade drove through Atlanta on the way to his, I don't know what his but they were doing a formal prosecution or something in Atlanta. In regards to his legal case going on in Atlanta, his motorcade drove through Atlanta and drove past many Black people in Atlanta cheering him on. Yay! Yay! So. These are supposed to be your Democratic base. These folks are supposed to be your Democratic base. I'm just saying. You have people in Atlanta cheering on Donald Trump. You're making him a sympathetic figure. So whatever people think that they're doing politically to Trump is gonna backfire. So I'm just pointing this out. This may not be the wisest move. Kind of like the Hillary Clinton campaign elevating Trump because they think he can easily be beat, and then losing to the same candidate who they thought they were easily going to beat. Maybe not a wise move. Just saying. I was going to play this one. I'm getting to the end of the show. This guy does a really good breakdown. It's kind of long. But I've been seeing a ton of these videos from black people specifically saying this is why we're, going with Trump. I'm not playing this in support of Trump. I'm playing this to show Democrats and liberals where people's minds are at and what the actual cause and effect is of, instead of helping people out, propping somebody up as this guy is a criminal and he's very bad and he's our political enemy and we're going to go after him and persecute him. That's, instead of doing things and just putting policies in place that help people. Anyways.
So I was watching these Trump videos of him getting arrested in Atlanta, and wow, it's very interesting what's going on. One thing I wanted to point out is that the hood is waking up. And what I mean by that is the lower income blacks that the Democratic establishment has been holding on to, even they're starting to see through the bull crap. And it's very evident. I'm about to show you some videos here in a second of Trump rolling through the hood in Atlanta. I used to live in Atlanta for the majority of my life. Grew up there. One of the reasons I left and came out to the country is because of how these liberal cities are ran. Atlanta has gone downhill bad in the past 10 years.
Okay, so I'm not going to play the whole video. I just want to play the beginning of that. But I'm just saying, the reason why I am playing these is not because I'm in support of Donald Trump. I'm playing this to show, to kind of give a picture of what is happening. If you really don't like Trump, if you don't want Trump to be the next president, or if you think that maybe we could vote for somebody better, or maybe we could get behind somebody better, or none of the above, or whatever it is you're feeling. I think it's just good to be in touch with how people are really feeling out there, so that you're not surprised, right? Or so that you can maybe do something, better with your time or better with your voice. If you're supporting a particular candidate with your finances, I don't know. Anyways, so that's happening. And meanwhile, everywhere Biden goes, he's getting booed. And again, I'm not showing you this. I don't like Biden. I don't like Trump. I'm not showing you this because I'm a Trump supporter or I'm just a Biden hater. I don't like either one of them. But everywhere Biden is going, he's getting booed. This is not a good sign. If you think that Biden is going to be somehow the bulwark against Trump, or just voting Democrat is somehow going to be a bulwark against Trump, I can tell you right now that is a losing proposition at this moment in time. I'm not saying go vote for Trump at all. I'm saying something different has to happen. Because and this ain't going to be it. Biden is not going to be it. Democrats are not going to be it. I can tell you that right now.
Should be a circumstance where the jobs that are being displaced, replaced with new jobs, they should go to the first choice should go to the UAW member who had the job, and the salary should be commensurate.
I'm just playing it to show you that people in the background are just like not happy about Biden. Anyways, where are we at here? All right. Well, I had some more things to play for you, but I think I'll hold them over for tomorrow. And since we're about to wrap up the show, but I will check in on the comment, see if anybody is giving any comments along with Rockfin tips or super chats or something. If y'all want to send in a comment, I can read on there. Go ahead and send it to me via Coffee or Super Chat or Super Ray or PayPal or Venmo or one of those things. Doesn't look like I've had anything yet to date, so all good. Guys, I will see you tomorrow. I appreciate you. See you tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And until next time, peace.